little bit different. Well, that's not exactly what I want to do either. I noticed the last couple of weeks when I did my non-kitchen cooking stream that the audio and the video stream was way better. Well, I was doing that. Sorry, I'm trying to set up my thing here. I was doing the video streaming with my, what do you call it? iPad. So, therefore, I decided to try to stream this with my iPad, and that's what we're going to try to do today. Which is a little more precarious because it's gigantic and it wants to fall over and break everything, and that's not what I want to have happen, but yeah, the recycling needs to be dealt with. I realize that. It is at max capacity. I told myself I wasn't going to stream myself making breakfast anymore. So I stopped doing that for a couple weeks, and I realized without the pressure of the internet, I wasn't cleaning my kitchen like I had been. So every once in a while, we're going to have to do a live stream in the kitchen to motivate me to make at least this part of the kitchen, Plus I got a giant slab of bacon. Because the internet is all about perception. I want the perception of my internet presence to be that when I buy bacon, I buy giant slabs of bacon. See how that works? Do you see how that works? Whatever. So this week has been pretty wild. It's been a pretty wild week. I also realize because of the fact that I changed this to a what do you call a podcast. Well, then no one's watching the video now that it's a podcast. It's all audio. Even though I know that's not true at all. That's what I'm going with. So I gotta try to remember that. There's people who are listening without watching. So there may be some breakfast cooking sounds in the background. Oops. I'm not doing this right. Oh man. Here we go. So yeah, it's been a wild week. There have been some things that I have never seen before in my entire life this week. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's been a wild one. Oops. The old coffee pot of rinse while we grind the beans. A fumble there. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely made a list of things to talk about. I realized the old try to do it from memory aspect of life is only as good as one's memory when you attempt that. Oh, whatever. Oops, let me turn that water off. So the one disadvantage of the way I'm doing this stream is I'm having a hard time as of right now, this moment, seeing anything in chat. Now my plan was to bring the stream up on my phone and see if the chat shows up on my phone, but when I turned my phone on just now, it didn't even say I was live. So that's a bit of a challenge. Let me grab the water real quick and get that coffee actually started. So just bear with me. Let me aim you back over here. Maybe you can get a little side hustle of the water being poured in. It's going to take me a second to get used to the size of the tablet and the tripod. I can't guarantee anything is going to work the way it's supposed to, but we're going to try. All right. Got that going. Let's get this going. Let's see if we can figure out how to make this thing live. My last live is showing up as last week's only, so I can't get this week's live up. How do I do this? Put my laptop in here? I really don't want to do that, to be honest with you. It doesn't sound like a way to keep the laptop from getting destroyed. I just got to see. It's not showing me live. Let me try to go through Studio, see if I can find it that way. Because otherwise there's no way for me to read the comments unless they just show, you know, for that 0.2 of a second when they show up. 0.2 of a second. View all. I know for a fact that I'm live. Oh God, how do you do it? If I was just on the internet, how would I figure out how to watch myself? Yeah, that's a great start to the video. YouTube.com. There it is. Got him!
Lucky for us, the guys over at Sealskin were cool enough to send out one of their car covers. Not only is it water...
We got a commercial by Sealskin, which is fun. Alright, now how would I figure out how to watch with comments? Yeah, I don't know how this works. So, waving my hand, that's what I'm getting. Doesn't say anything about cancel that. Comments, where are your comments? No. Can I go full screen? Yep, this is not working out well. I literally have no idea how I would do that. All right, well, let's continue. I mean, there's nothing I can do. It's literally, it's the laptop experience that shows the thing on the side. God, I guess I'm bringing my fucking laptop in here. Oh, God. I'm not putting the laptop where I'm eating, so I gotta put a spot on the table for the laptop to go. Give me 1 second. Hold, please. Hold, please. There are things I know better than to do in life, and one of them is to get the laptop involved in food. 1 second here. Sorry about the slow intro. I just don't know what else to do.
Looking to get stronger? Join Planet Fitness today. Stepping it up. You're not slowing down.
All right. So the problem I'm having, it's not that the comments aren't being commented, it's just when I watch it on my tablet, or my phone here, there's nothing, and the tablet just shows the exact same thing. So there's no comments going anywhere. But on a desktop, it has the comments on the side. So got it sorted out. I see that. Much slower on tablet than phone. I don't understand the slower part. I don't understand what the slower would be. Much slower on tablet than phone. Now the thing I was having on my phone was it looked like, you know, a film from the 1920s where it was like, and it looked like my internet was shit. And then when I would stream off my tablet, the video seemed like it would be if you were just streaming something, you know, 4 feet away from your internet source. Which I can only assume means my phone's a piece of shit. I'm going to have to replace that because now that I've established that it's the hardware and not anything else, it's the hardware. Like, that's all it is, it's just the hardware. Because the tablet is a newer tablet, much better tablet. Behind. I don't even know what you're saying. Behind. Okay. Yeah, anyways. So we're trying to figure this out. Cook a little bacon up. While I stream cutting of the bacon off. We get my list of shit to talk about. Of course, probably move my list of shit. Now I don't have my list of shit. I just moved all that stuff from the phone or the tablet over. All right, here we go. All right, the first thing to talk about on my list of shit from last week was did everybody survive the ban on TikTok okay? I mean, that was, God almighty, I thought there were people that were gonna lose their ability to pay their bills. The whole TikTok thing is given the perspective. It gives me perspective. You ever heard me say that before? It's like, so the deal with the TikTok is the Chinese are stealing your information. And they're like, well, we don't want to. So, like, as long as the government can steal your information, we're going to allow you to have TikTok. And I'm just like, okay. Okay. And, like, what blows my mind is the people who don't care. Well, there's a solid piece of bacon, 100% fat, no meat. All right, that's fine. I don't care. It's fine. It's thick cut. Sometimes in life, you just want to eat a big, giant slice of fat. I hope when I get a little farther into some meat starts showing up. That is crazy. It's not looking like it's going to... Well, I guess we'll just have that many pieces of lard today. Let's have some pork lard. Anyways, the good fried eggs. So, like, TikTok's banning. Oh god, there's people I play video games with were losing their minds. Oh my god, the TikTok, what are we gonna do? I know people who just nothing but TikTok. They love their TikTok. I'm like, okay. I feel like there's people who just don't. They're just beyond caring at all about anything. I don't care. You know, they're just like, I don't care. Steal my information, I don't care. It's like, okay, well. And there's something to that, and it's like, you know, I don't want my information stolen. Oh, by who? Well, as long as the right person is stealing your information, it's a lot better. I mean, part of me kind of wonders what's China going to do with my information if they have it? What are they going to do? They're going to tailor my shopping experience to customize for me, or I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of it. But at the last minute, I think the new president, I think, stepped in and saved the TikTok generation, which is like extraordinarily ironic. And I don't even know how that, like, I can't even follow the timeline anymore because I'm pretty sure he was the one that wanted to ban TikTok, and then now he's for it. As long as 50% of it is owned by an American or a governmental agency, or I have no idea. I'm like 999% convinced that it doesn't work for anybody to be in charge of anything if they don't have the power to snoop on whatever you're doing and to push their agenda on you via whatever the media that's being presented for the day is. It's just the way it is. And it's never going to change. It never has changed. It used to be when you showed up, listen to the guy tell you the stories he was telling you was the ones that they want you to hear. Then old Guggenheim figured out how to make movable type press, and it was like, well, I guess the books, and they started controlling the books you could read and what you heard in the books. And Marconi and the old radio, he figured that out. Oh well, we're gonna control what you hear on the radio. Who was it? Al Gore. Wasn't it Al Gore that invented the internet? Al Gore invented the internet, and then the internet, they control what you hear on the internet. So it's like, whatever. God, I read some books this past week, and it was like the one book. All right, gotta stop. Gotta look. Like, I can't say the wrong shit, or people will be like, "Ah, you didn't say the correct word." Okay, this book right here, "Humankind" by Rutger Bergman. He wrote Utopia for the Realists, hopeful story. Well, I mean, I used to listen to his book. I would just from listening to a book, I would say he's a lefty commie, essentially. You know, well, whatever. Good book. But the thing about his book was basically talk about how and this is just a summation real quick. Everything you've ever heard about how shitty humans is because of news. And the news only puts shitty stories out about humans. And the more examples he gave of all this shit, it's just like, well, that's crazy. And he went through some stuff that I learned in college. That is the way it is. And that's how it goes. And it's like all of it was lies. So he went through some experiments that were done. One of them was the famous Stanford study where they had the test subjects were inmates and guards, and how the guards they just defaulted into sadistic behavior, and how this is a reflection on mankind. What you put a person, and this guy, the psychologist or whatever the fuck he was. Anyways, he made a whole career, went up to the top of his career with this study he did. Well, it turns out the guy lied about most of it. He lied about the fact that he never told the guards to be sadistic, when in fact he literally did, and it's in his paper, but they never talked about it and they never reported it. So the whole premise of the thing was this is just pure human nature. But it's not. They were instructed to act that way. And another famous one was the electrocution study that was done, where they had a person behind a wall answering questions. They got it wrong. The person had to electrocute them. They put that out, human nature, people are executed. Turns out, guess what, kids, are you ready? That was all manipulated. And they did that on purpose. And then the guy goes through the actual research and the actual things, and they never recorded most of the stuff. They were like, oh, we forgot to record some of this. So they went back and they staged the recordings. It's all fake. It's all fake. God, it's nuts. So it's basically the news is just going to make you think things that aren't. That's what I learned from that book. It wasn't about humanity. It was about the news. Ever heard of the book called Lord of the Flies? Ever heard of that book? Where the children got shipwrecked on a desert island and resorted to madness? That book was written during the time when those two experiments were done. And the book was a fiction. But that book is one of the most famous books ever written from that time period. And it's the basis of how people think that humans react. And the guy that wrote the book was like, I wonder if that ever happened. I wonder if any kids ever got shipwrecked on an island. And I wonder if anyone ever looked into that. And he looked into it, and you know what? It actually happened. 6 kids in by Congo or some shit shipwrecked for 15 months one time. And it was the opposite of Lord of the Flies. They did not do that. It's wild. And they try to get the story out, but they didn't want to push the story because it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't push a narrative of yeah, it's so crazy, dude. So anyways, TikTok and the people trying to take your whatevers. What we got next on here? Oh yeah, the next thing to talk about. You guys ready for this? And this is an amazing topic that goes to all sides of the spectrum. Is this new phenomenon we have of pardons in this country? The pardon situation. Who's excited about the new pardons that they're doing? God almighty. Unreal. And it's funny how I think it's funny how the timeline of the pardons have gone. And I'm not going to go back too far in the world of pardons because they've been pardoned forever. I mean, the only one I'd go back to that's super old was the pardoning of the former president Richard Nixon. He was given a pardon that went post facto. He was the first person to ever get that. I don't know if people quite understand that basically what happened with Richard Nixon was he was given 2 options. See what happens or resign. And he was able to negotiate himself in his, I guess I'll resign, a deal where he could be pardoned from any wrongdoings that potential people that would come after him. Kind of a unique situation, a sitting president of the United States. whatever. Fast forward to this last little bit here where it started with Joe Biden doing, what did he do? Everyone on death row, almost, which is, that's interesting. That's an interesting one because you're on death row for a reason and you've probably been sat through a trial and you probably had evidence given and had opportunities to defend. And then all of a sudden, old Joe Biden, and I think I remember the quote was he didn't want those people to be executed under Donald Trump's reign, which is just wild. I mean, it's truly wild when you really think about that statement because try doing that statement without names attached. Do that sentence and have it be, I don't want the federal inmates to be executed under the next president of the United States' term. And it's like, why would the next president of the United States term be any different than the first president or the current president of the United States term? It's just so crazy to think about because the people that are on the death row, sorry, I'm washing my hands. The majority of them, I don't know the facts or numbers, were not convicted during the first term of Donald Trump. They were convicted during other presidents' terms, with lawyers, courts, judges, the whole thing. But yet somehow the final part of the crime, arrest, prosecution, deliberations, jury decision, go to death row. That part, as long as it ends during Donald Trump's era, it's bad. It's just like, whatever. Okay, moving on. That's just an anomaly. The next set of pardons that were super bizarre. Biden pardons his son with like an 11-year blanket pardon, which is like, whoa, that's crazy. The only one that's ever got one of those is the former president, and this is just a crackhead. A known crackhead's getting one. Okay, well, Good luck, America, going forward after that, because that's precedent. I mean, do you think for 1 second, if that does not get overturned by a court, that every president going forward will not pardon his family? Why wouldn't you? Because if you fast forward to the last day of Joe Biden's presidency, he went ahead and pardoned more people in his family. Just gave blanket, de facto, going back in time pardons to his family members. It's really got people saying, well, what do they do? Well, I mean, why do you need these pardons? I mean, tell me you're guilty without telling me you're guilty. It's like, holy shit. That's wild. That's not the end of it. There's more. He pardoned the people who were on the committee, January 6th committee, looking into the quote-unquote, you ready for this? The insurrection, because no one was found guilty of an insurrection, so therefore there was no insurrection. Anyways, doesn't matter. The people, they all got, why would they get a pardon? Why would they have to have a pardon if all they were doing is looking into this crime? I got some news for people. That was an event that happened, but it was allowed to happen, and it was encouraged to happen, and it was planned to happen, and it was all planned to try to stop the current president from getting back in office. I promise you that. Because the reason I know that for a fact, now this isn't even conjecture. You know what? The reason I know it's a fact is because the people looking into it all got pardons. That's how I know it's a fact. That makes it a fact. Because you don't have to pardon people who are doing illegal shit if they're not doing illegal shit. That's crazy. Absolute batshit crazy. Which gets me on to the next crazy one. Anthony Fauci got a pardon. Are you shitting me? I don't even have words. My brain has to default to he was doing illegal shit. Well, what did he do recently that could be considered an illegal thing? Oh, that was the whole global pandemic response, treatments, all that was, he spearheaded. So that's a crime that he needs pardon for? Give me the fucking break. Jesus Christ. I've heard some crazy shit, and the results of some of the crazy shit that's going to come out of this. They pardoned Millie? the general who went behind the president's back at the time and talked to the Chinese commies about how he wouldn't let Donald Trump be in charge because he thinks he's not. It's just like, whoa, dude, that's kind of crazy. Because like, that's a pretty good chance that's treason. Anywho's, the one person who didn't get a pardon, Nancy Pelosi didn't get a pardon. She was involved with Milley in those conversations, so she might be on the hook. The other one I heard that's super nuts is all those people that got pardons can't plead the fifth now. So therefore, if something happens, because I think, like for example, because we went through the whole thing where, let's see here, how does this work? The former president of the United States got tried and convicted for things he did when he was not president of the United States. Therefore, a precedent has been set that a former president of the United States can be tried and convicted. So that means Joe Biden can be tried and convicted for things he did when he wasn't president. And he was vice president when all this Burisma stuff was going on. That's what they're covering up, the bribes and the kickbacks. So he pardoned all of his family but himself because they were all involved in that money, I guess, laundering. But he didn't pardon himself, so they might have to testify against Joe Biden when he gets put on trial for that because it's just like, well, that ain't gonna happen. That's a former president. But it's like, I'm sorry, was no one paying attention? We have a new rule now. It's a new rule. And there's no go backsies on the new rule. God, people are just nuts. They don't realize it. But that shit's crazy. And then you fast forward to Trump. Now he's pardoning people. He just did the full-on, everyone that got arrested for January 6th, you either commuted or pardoned, done. And then, of course, we just went through, a 24-hour period of people being like, no, Joe Biden could do that. He's the president. It's okay. It's part of his powers. And like, they're defending of what we just witnessed, at the end of Biden's presidency. Till within 24 hours, the same people essentially are losing their goddamn minds over the J6ers getting pardoned because, oh my God, they were criminals. They did bad. It's like, wait a second. He pardoned criminals. That's right. People who were charged criminally got pardoned. That's a power that the president has to pardon criminals. True facts, kids. True facts. What does it say about the people that just got pardoned the day before? Are they criminals? Can you oh my God! Like people's brains are literally exploding inside of their craniums. They're having brain explosions. They don't. It's like it's too much for a human brain to try to follow and agree with. I promise you, it's just too much. It's too much brain explosions. Oh, I got a comment. I missed it. Hold please. I just saw it on the laptop. What do we got here? Jeremy, hey, how am I? Well, I'm cooking fatty bacon, so not too bad. So that's just wild to think about. And there's some because like we discussed earlier, the lying news telling lies have got some people worked up really bad about the severity of what happened on that January 6th and the severity of the punishments that should be attributed to it. And if a person's position is nothing happened and there should be no punishment, that's fucking delusional. You're living in a fucking crazy town. But if you step back and you look at what people did and what punishments they've been receiving and all this crazy shit, even like a fairly unobjective person would be like, yeah, no, I think you handle that. A lot of people don't remember, like back in like the 60s and 70s, people used to actually like explode bombs at the Capitol. Like that was a real thing. There was a terrorist organization called the Weather Underground. One of the people that were in the Weather Underground is like holds a prominent position in the Democratic Party, and they literally were involved in bombing the government. Bombing, kaboo! Bombs going off. It's like try to keep an even temper when you understand what's going on in politics and like political discourse in our country, which is pretty interesting. Anyways, I know people are losing their minds over that shit. There was one point someone actually said out loud, January 6th is worse than 9/11. And it was like, whoa. That's an intense statement. Just based on how stupid of a statement that is, but like, man, that's intense. But you're allowed to say what you want in life. It's actually become like an internet meme with people saying that, because like it's so ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous statement that people repeat it because they think it's funny. Yep, I'm going to cook the eggs right now. Just going to try. So, all right. I think I've ranted enough about the pardons. What's next? Oh, here we go. Well, we didn't have this when I was growing up. They call them meme coins. Are you guys ready for this? The digital currency fad that's going on, where people are coming up with a digital currency. Where's the eggs made? Oh, these came from a chicken, I think. Farm fresh, no growth hormones, keep prepared, refrigerated. Verified.com. These came from Harris, Iowa, is where these eggs came from. I'm not even really sure where Harris, Iowa is. Someplace in the Midwest, I assume. These may be the last eggs I ever get the rest of my life, depending on how egg prices go. So that's okay. So the meme coins. So originally the first one was Bitcoin came out. Just a digital coin. I can't even really explain how that works. I'm not going to try. It's just a thing. Some other coins came out. I can't remember what they're called. Ethereal and some other ones. Blah, blah, blah. Just people came out with but digital coins. And like the first couple of the big ones that came out, they got well advertised. They actually like increased in alleged value or whatever. And this spatula is dirty. I gotta clean this thing. And like people were able to make a lot of money off it, which is bizarre to think about. It's complicated. Involves computers doing math equations, creating these coins that are tradable. There's only a limited number of the coins when they make the coin, and when all the coins are out, that's all there ever is going to be. But you have to develop the coins out by doing the math. Anyways, blah 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 blah. So some people started realizing, well, these coins, people are just making them, and you're essentially making something out of nothing, but it just involves work on a computer doing math. So someone's like, I'm just going to make a coin, call it Doge. Like dog, like Doji, because it was like an internet meme of a dog. And he made it as a joke, but then people bought it, and then it became a thing, and people got rich, and it was a real thing, and the term became meme coins, meme being memetics, like an image that quantifies something culturally that people can look at and understand, whatever. That's what memetics is. Feel free to read up on memetics all you want. Anyways, they call them memes now. So the era of meme coins came out. And just recently, there was a girl named Haley, I believe, who was drunk walking down a sidewalk and went viral on the internet for talking about how she liked to give, apparently, blowjobs with lots of spit. By spitting on it, Haktua became Haktua Girl. That's fine. And she got involved in the launching of a meme coin that got pump and dumped. Because she was famous, people are stupid, they put their money in, the value of the coin went up, and then all these people pulled the money out, made millions, and a bunch of people lost millions. That happened. Well, that's a thing you can do, apparently. I don't know. So Donald Trump came out with his. He's got his own coin. It came out. I'm not sure if it quite got pumped and dumped like the Haktua girls did. His wife came out with meme coins. Melania's got one. That is a thing now. It's kind of like, maybe you don't remember, fungible NFTs, I don't remember what it is. It was like digital art pieces were really big for a while. People were spending all this crazy money. I mean, the only thing I can come up with is like, there's far too many people who have far too much money to waste, influencing people who don't have quite as much money to waste, influencing people who have no money to waste. They're all wasting their money. What do we got here? When is the spring solstice coming? Well, March 21st, I think, isn't it? It'll be the equinox. It won't be a solstice. So the solstices happen in winter and in summer when the days are longest and shortest. And in the spring and the fall, they're called equinoxes because the days are equal. Hold, please. I'm gonna blow my nose. I'm allergic to the internet. So yeah, March 21st will be the equinox. And we'll have equal days of daylight and darkness. So you got a couple months still. I'll make some toast real fast. So yeah, the meme coin thing, I don't know. I was just writing shit down as I was going through the week, so this is in order that I saw. The next thing that's pretty well. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but it's going to be interesting. Donald Trump declared basic war on the drug cartels, calling them terrorist organizations. Well, yeah, that's going to get animated because the way I remember things is back in 2001 we had an event in New York, in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and in at the Pentagon, where terrorists, according to the mainstream narrative that is official, did terrorist attacks. And because of the terrorist attacks, we entered into the longest war in America's history in Afghanistan because of terrorism. Okay. Donald Trump just declared drug cartels to be doing terrorist things, which I could only assume the result's going to be something similar to what just went down in Afghanistan with the world's longest war against terrorism. Because I don't really remember the United States asking Afghanistan if they could come get the terrorists. Like, hey, dear Afghanistan, we got to get some terrorists. I think we just rolled right in there and did that shit. And I think the United States told the world, we're after terrorists, get out of our way, and that's what we did. So I don't know what's about to happen. It's going to be wild, though. I wouldn't want to be a cartel member. I'll tell you that right now. All right, what's this question here? Did you get any lawn equipment for the upcoming lawn season? No. No, not yet. I'm still living in like 18 degrees cold land, freezing. And that egg cooked straight. I didn't put any grease down before I did that. All that bacon grease. Yeah, I don't know. The other day I was thinking to myself, man, I should get a new lawnmower, but my lawnmower still works pretty good. I was just thinking about things. I have to see how everything goes. I mean, it's going to get interesting with the whole cost of things coming up. I know things have been kind of expensive lately. I don't know if they're going to go down, if they're going to go up, or how it's all going to work. I got a feeling things are just going to be expensive forever. I just don't see it not being that way. Unfortunately. But along with the cartel thing, we got the Panama Canal situation, which is, it's interesting. I don't know what's going to happen there, but something's going to happen because the way I understand it is the agreement is not being honored. And I don't think it's going to be like we're going to invade Panama. I don't think that's going to happen. I assume the way it's going to go down is Panama's going to be given the option to do a thing, and if they say no thank you, I assume the United States government's going to contact some of the countries that do business with Panama, and those countries are going to be advised about how their situation is about to change. And regards to doing business with the United States. And those countries are going to have to make a decision whether they want to enjoy a as things are currently going situation or a different situation. And they're probably going to choose as things are going as their answer, which is going to make it extremely difficult to be a Panamanian. A little political pressure, actually, what's going to happen. Did I get new tools for the garage? I did get one new tool recently. I haven't put the video up for it. It's nothing exciting. It's like a screwdriver that looks like it's a window install gasket tool. I can give you a spoiler. Hold on, I'll show you. Right here. Spoiler! Here's my newest tool. It'll be a video. See the ball on the end? That's to install a gasket on a windshield, a locking gasket that goes underneath the gasket and pops it out. I had to buy a specialty tool for my ATV or my side-by-side. Spoiler McGee there. There it is. My newest tool acquisition. Not too exciting, but it is what it is. Alright, what's next? Yeah, the Panama Canal. And what's crazy is like, sorry, my nose is running. I really don't know what it is about the internet. Makes my nose run, but it is. Anyways, a lot of people died building that Panama Canal. A lot. I mean, it's not like 10 or 20 people. Like thousands of people died building that thing. And anyways, what's next? Oh, okay. The next thing on the list, similar area. Another thing making people lose their minds, and this is interesting. We're going to talk about this. Is the United States' official change to the name of the former Gulf of Mexico being called the Gulf of America. Now, before you lose your mind, pull your hair, and start screaming, let's talk about this. Mexico is a country in the continent called North America. Below the equator, there is a continent called South America. The United States of America is a country in North America. Canada is a country in North America. The former Gulf of Mexico is a gulf that touches the country of Mexico and the United States of America. It is the largest gulf in the Americas because there's a North America and a South America. Therefore, it is not illogical or absolutely pro-American to call the Gulf that was used to be called the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. It's not. They didn't change the name to the Gulf of the United States of America, meaning it's the Gulf for the United States of America. It's the Gulf of America because it's the largest gulf in the Americas. In fact, calling it the Gulf of Mexico is very, very Mexico-central. It only identifies as being a gulf for one country, and it doesn't touch one country. It touches two countries. It's pretty wild to think about. But people who are losing their minds are thinking it's the Gulf of the United States of America. That's not what they changed it to. They call it the Gulf of America. So I think Americans, United States of Americans, that's what we call citizens of the United States of America are Americans. We don't call them, like in Canada, they call them Canadians. In the United States of America, we call them Americans. If there was a country called something South Americans, they call them Americans, but they don't. It's Brazilians, Argentinians, all that. So a lot of Americans think that America, when using a sentence, refers to only the United States of America, but that's not true. Because there's North America and South America as continents. You can refer to things continentally as America, or North America, or South America. Anywho's, I think it's kind of funny. People don't seem to realize what he's doing. There's only so much attention span that anybody has. People can only scream so loud over so much shit. So, I mean, welcome to the show. So what Trump's doing, he's putting so much shit out there that people can only scream so much. That's why, McKinley, Denali, he changed the name back to McKinley, Gulf of Mexico to a Gulf of America, and then all the other stuff he's doing. People can only be outraged so much before they have to have outrage control. It's pretty wild. Hilarious to watch. Buying Greenland. He's like, I want to buy Greenland. Oh my God, people are losing their goddamn minds over that shit. I just laugh. There's all sorts of stuff that's changing. We no longer federally are living under the DEI madness that we've had for the last little bit there. That's over. You're officially, I think, allowed to acknowledge that the government of the United States only recognizes two genders. That's interesting. That's an official policy now. I'm not sure if it's a YouTube policy or maybe just got in trouble. Don't know. I don't want to turn this channel into a complete, crybaby observation political channel, but it's hard not to notice all this shit. So we talk about some other stuff that's interesting. I saw a video over the weekend, and you may want to Google this. True video. Not making this shit up. It's a home security video. The beginning of the video kind of starts off not being able to see exactly what's happening because it's like two parked cars. A lady's walking between the two cars with a pet carrier that I think has a cat in it. And the video starts with a lady screaming hysterically. And it's like something's kind of like on her back a little bit. She's like, ah! Ah! And you can after you watch the video 5 or 6 times, you can figure out what's going on. A wild bobcat attacks this lady by latching itself to her back while she's carrying a pet cat in a cat carrier. She's screaming, flailing, gets to the end of the car in the video. Her husband's in the driveway. He's holding something in his hand. It almost looks like a paint roller liner. So he's got a thing in his hand. She turns her back to him with a bobcat on. He grabs the bobcat by the fucking arms and is holding the bobcat with a thing between his hands. So he pulls the bobcat off the lady's back. He's like, ah! He's freaking out because his brain's trying to figure out what the fuck is happening. And finally he figures out it's a bobcat. He starts screaming, it's a bobcat! It's a bobcat! And then he just takes the bobcat and he chucks it like a piece of fucking worn out trash. And it just goes flying through the air, dude. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. A dude pulls a wild bobcat attacking his wife off her back, bare hands it, and then just chucks it like a piece of firewood. Yeah, Google bobcat attack. That's crazy as shit I've ever seen in my life. And it was in suburbia. It wasn't like they were out in the woods. They were in a neighborhood. And this bobcat just is like, I'm attacking this lady or something. I really... And Christ, maybe there was a bobcat in the cat carrier. Maybe the lady caught a bobcat, was taken to the... I have no idea what was happening, but this bobcat was not... The bobcat was not participating in the situation without putting a fight up. He was like, no, he was changing the way it was going to go down. I mean, I was just like, wow, that was intense. I probably watched that video, I swear to God, 30 times. Because, the dude that pulled the bobcat off wasn't I don't even know what kind of a person is the kind of person that pulls bobcats off and remains calm, but he wasn't one of those kind. But he was the kind of guy that was like, shit's going down, I gotta get in there and figure out what the hell's happening. He didn't want to be doing that, he wasn't happy doing it. He couldn't believe he was doing it, but he did it. It was there are still some people on this planet Earth that are capable of doing shit they didn't think they were capable of doing. He was one of them. It was crazy. It was like, bobcat! Ah! He's just like... I'm going to have to turn the camera around for this one. I mean, it's just it was wild. I mean, just and the bobcat was kind of like, what's happening? The bobcat couldn't even believe it was getting The Bobcat couldn't believe it was getting tossed. Let's see if I got this up right. Oh wait, I got weirdos that want to look at my cabinets. Yeah, the guy was like, "It's a Bobcat!" And he's like, "Yeah!" It's like the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. I mean, whatever. What else did I see that was like not some crazy political shit that people get upset about? Look up here. What's the weather like this week? Sorry, my laptop's like clear over there. I think it's supposed to be cold. Just a whole lot of cold. I guess since I'm not streaming my phone, I can look it up. This week in weather. Oh, damn, it's going to warm up. Midweek, it's going to be 57 degrees. It'll be summer here pretty quick. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I saw another video that was pretty interesting. So that they developed a speed bump. When is the next breakfast live stream? I don't know. I kind of told myself I wasn't going to do breakfast live streams anymore. Maybe like I'll do every other one at breakfast. Some people don't like to watch me eat or listen to me eat. Anyways, I saw a video. I think it's out of Sweden. They developed a speed bump, which obviously extraordinarily expensive. But what it is when the speed bump is not being a speed bump, it's this metal plate in the road. There's a sensor that senses speed. If you're going too fast, the metal plate goes meh, and it goes down in the road, creating a hole in the road of a couple inches. That if you hit going fast, it's going to go donk and just smoke your car. It won't destroy it, but like, maybe it would destroy your car depending on how fast you're going. It doesn't go up and make a jump. It just makes a hole. It's like a hole forming thing. An expensive solution to a problem. Now, there's a road in my town. There's a road in my town that got put in years ago. And when they did the work, it was a multi-stage project. The first part went in, everything went smooth, the weather cooperated. It was like the last, like, third of it, maybe? Not quite it wasn't all the way to the last, but like towards the end. And this is a project where they were going all the way down, new sewer, new water, deep. Well, they had a horrendous wet section of weather. I mean, like, not quite biblical, but it rained a lot, and it was bad, and they had a huge issue. The pit filled in with water. They were pumping. It is what it is. They filled it all in. They made the road. But that section got so saturated with water that now when the frost cycles happen, the road just heaves because the frost in the water, it can't ever escape. There's no place for it to go. So it's like, but like the manholes and the tire that goes down the manhole to the sewer, that's below frost. So it sits, it doesn't move. But the road goes up and down. So in the winter, like, that manhole, I bet that's 3 inches lower. It's crazy. And then, like, I think it also settled because, like, originally the manholes just kind of started going down, and they had these holes in the road. So their solution, rather than to fix it, because that's expensive, they just came around and ground the concrete. So you just drove into this hole coming in and out, and like, it's a major. They screwed up big time, and the fact that no one has to fix that shit blows my mind. Well, the one thing good about that disaster, it really slows traffic down because you can't drive over that shit. It'll rip your goddamn car apart. So by screwing the roads up, putting giant holes in the road, it actually slows traffic down. Cheers to them. Because originally they were going to put stop signs everywhere. Like, that'll stop people from driving fast and put stop signs. It's like, well, you're going to have a riot on your hand because the people who don't speed just want to get where they're going. They don't want to stop. They actually put stop signs up for a while. There was a revolt. There was an absolute revolt. I thought about getting a Sawzall and cutting those stop signs down. I really did. But I don't do that because that would be a crime. Whatever. I'm not sure what else. There was more shit this week, but just like, holy Moses. What's a coffee machine hissing like that for? So yeah, I don't know, whatever. Just the whole thing with everything, just... I mean, my stream is called More Than One Way to Play, because there's more than one way to do everything in life. I have to try to keep reminding myself that there's more than one way to do it. And it's really hard. I keep watching people choose to do their other way, the wrong way, the absolute wrong way. And it's extraordinarily difficult for me to participate in shit like that. Even though I'm well aware there's more than one way to do things. I was playing with my group on Wednesday and I lost my cool because people want to play the game differently than I want to, and then they wanted to like yuck it up, even though there was people besides myself asking to do a part of the game that's a fairly big part of the game. It's kind of the point of the game. And other people didn't want to do that part, and then like people were like yakking and talking over the people that wanted to do the part, and then it became to a point where we couldn't do the part because it was too late, you couldn't do it anymore, and I had to sit there and listen to people like laugh and be like, "Oh, just a game, bro." And it's like in my mind, I'm like, "Yeah, no, I get it. It's a game, yep." But there was people other than me asking for something to happen in the game, which is not a hard thing. It wasn't hard. There was no time pressure. There was nothing. It was just I just had to do a thing. All you had to do is a thing. But there's people who don't play the game that way, that play casually or whatever. They don't care about that aspect of the game. That's fine. But for some reason, it pissed me off so fucking bad that there are people who don't give a fuck to care enough to be in a group setting with other people to acknowledge the other people and what they would like to do when there's no pressure to not do it. There was no reason not to do any of what we were asking to have happen. The group was breaking soon. There wasn't a pressure. And then there was like people who were just like yucking it up. It's just like, I can't do anything about those kind of people. And I guess if you're watching this and you're one of those kind of people, you may consider trying to be not that kind of a person anymore. I don't know what to tell you. But I was mad as fuck for a little bit there. Like mad enough to be like, I'm not sure if I want to do this shit anymore because I don't know what it is about simple shit that doesn't like, if something doesn't cost anybody anything, it doesn't require anything, but someone doesn't want to do it because they don't want to do it, but other people in the group want to, the proper thing to do is just like, well, I don't want to do that, so I'm just gonna do nothing is the answer, as opposed to I'm gonna make actions to make sure that no one can do it. It's like, and there was some talk of, oh, no one heard, they didn't hear, they didn't know, and it's like, well, the one guy who didn't actually come back on Saturday, he said he asked for the thing to happen 3 times. I asked at least twice, and then the guildmaster asked right as the opportunity for that action to happen ended. So it was technically 5 asks out loud. But there was people who don't participate in that aspect of the game that were just like, blah, 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 apparently talking so loud that the person couldn't hear them. And it's like a group thing we did that you have to get to an objective. Once you're past the objective, it's common for everyone to stop, check to see if this action is available to be shared or be done. That's very common. In fact, it's so common that I can't imagine never doing it. If a person didn't want to participate in that, all they do is nothing. But it's just like, whatever. I don't know what's going on in people's lives, in their personal lives, that makes them do that kind of shit. I mean, I guess I just say what it was. We ran a scroll back after basically a night of just garbage. It was a garbage night. It was hard. We didn't do well. I probably thought in my head, what the fuck are we doing, probably 25 times that night, because everything we were doing wasn't working. I don't want to harsh the people that were running group, but I know for a fact there was at least 3 people in group that could have run that group better than that, but they're not allowed to. Because we had DCs, we had people couldn't, like, dropping out, crowns were getting changed. Crowning's hard, I know. Some people are better at crown than others. I'm just going to say that out loud. People do crown differently, have different objectives. It's just weird. So we run the scroll back, get back to the gate, and like people are like, we just get the quest. Share the quest, please. Nope. Person carrying the scroll just ran up and then said it, then said, "Oh, I didn't hear." It's like, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but yeah, okay. You either didn't hear, or you're not listening, or you don't care. Or I'm gonna default to that. Didn't hear anyone ask. And I know that person doesn't do. They don't do quests. They don't participate in that part of the game. And that's fine. You don't have to. I don't care if you don't want to do that. But there's so many people who do that. There are a lot of people who do the quests in the game. Whatever. It's just tough because it's not a paid position for anybody. Leading group's not paid. Being in group's not paid. None of it's a paid position. Whatever. Oop, I think I'm going to miss something here. Next breakfast. I don't know when the next breakfast. Yeah, maybe in 2 weeks I'll do breakfast again. But whatever. I did have 2 people contact me on messages after that. One apologized and one was like, "Hey, thanks for being in group," whatever. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to any of that. I don't know what the answer to any of that shit is. I mean, I've been in group before where there wasn't time to do any of that because we're doing something and we got to get going. And I get that. Like, nope, ain't got time for that shit. Set, let's go. But it was the end of the night. All we were gonna do is go back to the gate, have like a talk that we do every time, and then just move on. So, you like the live? You like the breakfast live streams, or me sitting in a chair talking to the screen? I feel like I eat better breakfast when I stream it. I truly do. But like I'm not like permanently mad at anybody in my group. It's just like, I guess I'm just gonna default to like yep. No one could hear because everyone was just yapping their lips. And what's really strange is like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, every night's different. The map's always different. Everything changes dynamically, but like, whatever. I don't know. I've seen some shit where people just like this, nah, they all give up, and I've seen some shit where like you can get a lot done without a lot of people. It's just, I assume like the video gaming thing is like a microcosm on like everything in life. Where like, and sometimes I wish some of the people from that group would actually watch this shit and listen to it, because like, the group I'm talking about is supposed to be like the group that's like a little more serious. And something I've noticed is they have their hierarchy. They have their, you're new to the group and like you run the group. Or they got, that's the top to bottom. And there's a very small group at the top that's in charge. That's fine. It always has to be that way. It's not just, it's in all the groups I run. There's always the in-charge people. And this is probably the same way that it is in like a business setting and all that. Where the people in charge, there's obviously one person who's actually in charge. And I assume that that person should be doing in charge shit. Like looking at the map, running around, being in charge. But the henchmen below him, who are also in charge but not actually leading group, tend to do nothing. Tend to stand around, looking around, seeing squirrels, chasing shit around, but not putting the work in to do the fucking work that has to be done, which leads to losing every time. I can always tell if we're going to lose that night based on who shows up. And it's usually when we get a lot of people who are in charge showing up, we do shitty. Because I know exactly what's happening is the people in charge aren't doing their work. Therefore, the people below them are watching the people in charge not doing work thinking, well, we're not doing that tonight. We're not all going to do what we're supposed to do. We're just going to fuck off the whole time. And it happens every single fucking time. It's wild. Whereas, like, if you want to win, the people in charge should be leading by example, and everyone else will fall in tow, and you'll win. And you know how I know how this works? I'm going to tell a secret. I hope you're all watching. I've seen people lead group where they do what they do what they're supposed to do, and they demand everyone else does too. And you know what happens? They fucking win. And you can watch the enemy do it too. You can watch the enemy run up, and no one does their work. They all run around doing nothing, and they lose. And it blows my mind because it's so simple. It's the simplest shit in the game, is if everyone in group just does their job. And it feels like there's only a couple people that run groups that they make, like I've ran with people who were in charge, they call names out actually, it's fucking wild. They'll say names and give them positions because that person in charge understands that no one's going to do their job unless they are directly told. It's just like, God. It must be like I've made it. I've made it. I got easy street now. I can just kind of, I can do it easy. Now, not to confuse that with like the guy in charge giving a specific directive to another person to go do something, like go check that out. But it's almost like people don't realize that everyone can see. Like you can see, you just open your eyes and look at the game, you can see what's happening. Like if I'm in an area and something's happening, I can just look around and I can see exactly what everybody's doing. I can see if someone's just standing there doing nothing, running around, chasing a dude. Everyone can see. And then it's like, oh man, it didn't work out. Yeah, no. Yeah. Who could have ever foreseen it wasn't going to work out? Or all the people that are supposed to be leading by example are just like standing there being in charge. It's like, dude, you need one person in charge, one person checking the map, checking the doors, unless you call it. It's like, and I'm not asking for an upgrade, but I'm not in charge of that group. I'm in charge of another group at least twice a week, and none of that shit happens when I'm running a group, I promise you. I ran group on Friday. We were outnumbered all night long. And we kicked dicks in all night long. It was like locked server, blue, 2 bars, red, 1 bar us. And we kicked dicks in all night long until we lost it at like 11. Held it all night long. They couldn't get it from us. Because it's not acceptable to do nothing when you're running a group with me. I'm not going to put up with that shit. And everyone does it and we win. We do nothing but winning. Whatever. That's fine. It's just extraordinarily frustrating. I don't know what to do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just... It reminds me when I used to teach at an art center for children. I used to teach children. It's the exact same thing that's happening when you teach children that's happening in these groups. Is if there's one huckster, one knucklehead in the group, all the knuckleheads will start knuckleheading up. And if you don't take care of the knucklehead, you lose all control. And it only takes one. And I don't know what that is about humans. It's a universal thing, completely across the board. Just and what's crazy is everybody knows what has to happen. Everybody in the group knows what has to happen to make the group happen. That's what's crazy. But like, unless someone's making them do it, most people are just like, I'm just like, we'll leave it to somebody else. Like, that's what it is. Somebody else will take care of it. And I think that's how it works. Like, everybody just assumes somebody else is going to take care of everything. Somebody else will take care of that. Somebody else is going to do that. Like, I even at a detriment to my own own self, I even do the grunt work when I'm running group because the grunt work has to get done to win. Like normally, like I would say, if you're leading group, you shouldn't be setting all that siege. You should be like making sure shit's happening and looking around. But like I still like jump on my siege just because it has to get done, and I think it helps. I think when people see the group leader doing work, they don't think to themselves, well, the group leader ain't willing to do it. Why the fuck am I gonna? I'm as good as that one. And it's like, oh god, it's like make the donuts, dude. Someone's gonna make donuts. I mean, if you got enough people, if you got like 2 groups going, I guess you got some spare people to run around, but I don't know if there was a conversation that was had. I have no idea, but last night's group ran a little better. There was a little more participation from the quote-unquote people in charge. I heard, I should buy Siege this time, because there was some, I'm not sieging, there was some announcements on Wednesday that they weren't sieging or, quote, didn't have Siege. I'm just like, oh my god, dude. Whatever. I mean, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be better than TV. That's why I play that game. It's supposed to be better than TV. But man, Wednesday was not better than TV. Made me question shit. What do we got over here? Both. Oh, yep. I mean, I totally understand why people leave groups and go to other groups and try to form other groups. I get that. I think what happens is people have a night on a video game like I had on Wednesday where they're like, I could have more fun with people who want to play like but it doesn't matter what group you get in. Eventually, it's going to turn into that. It's going to be someone else to do the work. I don't know if you've paid your dues and you don't have to. Like, I mean, I make a joke with one of the leaders that I run his siege, but he's running Crown. Like, that's kind of how it should be. Is like that dude doesn't need to run siege because he's making the calls and he's running Crown. But like, somehow the other people who quote unquote are in charge, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad when they're there, but they don't come all the that's what the wild part is. The people in charge aren't showing up, and when they do show up, it's like you would think the more people you have in group, the better the group would run. Which is kind of wild. It's kind of a wild thing to observe. That the group runs better when the people in charge don't show up. I think people just start following them and they see what they're doing and they repeat it. I think that's what's happening. But what do I know? They won't listen to me. Alright, I've gone way long. I was a fucking 20-minute rant about my video game experience. What do we got here? When's golf season starting? Ooh, when the grass starts growing, I think. A little cold out there now, but whatever. Try to think of others when you're doing things that you do, I guess. The universe does not revolve around any one person's head, despite what your mother told you. Peace out. Stay safe, stay warm. I'll see you next time. If you play video games with me, set siege and trade quests, please. Thank you. I'm out.